back any further, want to go ahead and get started into the messages. And again, our triple threat. The first of our triple threat tonight is a young man I'm very proud of. Been proud of where he's come from. Been involved in his life for the last 19 years. So I've seen my little man that could barely reach his daddy's hand till now. And so I'd like to introduce my son, Logan Cooper. Let's get with them.
Well, now I hope everyone gets a little personal intro like that. I feel all awkward, and Dad left all this stuff up here for me. So I was really nervous today, but as soon as I got here, I kind of started getting a peace and knew that what I was doing was good and was going to work out. And then Brother Hosey came up and tapped me on the shoulder and told me everything was going to be all right, and then my stomach dropped again. But I chose to kind of do something really simplistic. I don't want to try to get too deep or anything. That's all good. But I really just want to get started now. So when I think about God, I always like to think about God in like the big, huge, mighty, strong sense. I like to think about him as the creator of all things, the creator of the universe, and he's bigger than all the oceans and all the mountains and everything that ever was. And God is huge. He can do anything and everything, and he knows all things. He can see and hear, and he knows everything that we do. And at times that can be kind of daunting. So it's nice to look back and know that God is also small and accessible. He's everything that we need. He can see every blade of grass, every hair, every subatomic particle that there is, and he has a name and number for every single one. He's also not limited to time. He's past, present, and future. And really, we only live in the past, because once we realize that it's the present, it's already the past again. And that's one of my things I like to think about, because Justin brought it up to me one time, and it just kind of blew my mind that God can live in the present and the future, and we're kind of stuck in the past all the time. I wrote really small. But no matter how big, small, or infinite we think God is, he's always so much more. We can't limit God to our own thoughts and our own processes, because his thoughts are higher and his ways are higher, and he's not limited by what we think he is. And we try to understand this, and we try to wrap our minds around it, and we try to understand how limitless God is. But no matter what, he falls back to limits in our mind, because we can't comprehend that. And we can end up putting God in a box by limiting our expectations of what he can and can't do. Even when we think we know everything, or even when we think we're getting close to knowing everything about God, there's infinitely so much more that he is and will be. But in this thinking, we have to remember that at the same time, as God being huge, he's also very accessible, and he's here for us, and he wants to be a father figure to us that we can run to in our time of need. So we can't always look at him as something huge and something that we can't reach, because then we start getting the thoughts of, oh, God doesn't have time for me. God doesn't care about this thing because it's small. I can handle this myself. And then we start trying to solve all of our own problems and fixing ourselves before we go to God. And that thought process doesn't make sense, because when you think about it, what fisherman cleans a fish before he catches it? How does that fit in with the processes of God taking us in and molding us after what he wants us to be? we can also get in the mindset of I've messed up so many times, and I've done this one thing so many times, and I keep going back to God to fix it, but my flesh keeps pulling me back, and I keep falling back into those same steps and those same worldly desires, but that's the thought of God's too small and He can't help me because I need to help myself in this situation. I need to fix it because whatever I'm doing with God isn't working. But really, what He's doing is working. What we're doing isn't. We're not staying committed. We're not focusing on a relationship with this huge God that can do anything. And we get stuck in this thought, and we can even begin thinking things like this is just my cross to bear because it's not getting fixed quick enough. This is just something I have to deal with. This is a trial that I haven't finished yet. But really, that's just our thoughts and our flesh pulling us down and making us get stuck in those situations where we can't get out without the help of God. But He wants us to reach out to Him, and He wants us to keep coming back and working with Him and getting better and through Him. And we can't get so caught up on the fact that God is huge that He doesn't see us as individuals. He sees us as each and every one of us because He knows all of our names. He knows all of our thoughts and all of our desires and those things, and that's how He can help us even when we think that we don't need help. And I got stuck in those processes thinking that this is just my cross to bear and that I'm in a trial that isn't finished yet because for 4 years of me trying to live for God, I was stuck in an addiction that hindered my walk with God and hindered my calling. And just recently, 3 weeks ago, I humbled myself enough to reach out to someone else. For the first time, nobody's ever known this about me. But I reached out to the pastor, and I told him what was going on. And since then, since I prayed through that time, God has kept me from that addiction, and he has changed me and brought me back in so many ways. Like I used to do this kind of often back at our old church, and this I was just so nervous today because it's been so long, and I feel different now, and I feel renewed because I'm not having that sin on my back, and I don't have that worry on my back because I know my God is bigger, but He still knows me, and that's really all I have tonight. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. See if we can get the furniture to cooperate tonight. Brother Logan, appreciate that word. And it's awesome because I didn't even know what Logan was going to speak. And I almost took his message right before he got up here. So God does work in so many mighty ways, and do appreciate what He's doing in Logan's life. As a parent, couldn't be prouder. You know, one of the things, when you talk about richness in God, one of the things that you would want more than any other thing is for your kids to live for God and to be obedient and put themselves in God's service. And so such a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I do really appreciate God in that.